Welcome everybody to the final, well, not the final, but the final actual show in my TEW 2020 playthrough in WCW 2006. But of course, this is not WCW. This is WWF Summerslam as I continue my little, tradition of taking over the WWF for their big shows, WrestleMania and SummerSlam. Maybe that'll change if the TW9 booking is a little better with WEB. We'll have to see about that. Regardless, here we are, and again, a little update on the plan. So basically, what'll happen is we'll do this show, which is today. Then on Friday, I will have a my basically end of TW 2020 run through of my roster, the rest of the wrestling world, and that'll be 1 or 2 parts depending on how long I go. And from there, then basically it'll just depend on what time I have, but then I begin the long fun process of basically doing some edits. First on this, on basically this data, and then ending this data, and then moving that over to TW9 and making further edits. Honestly, between other plans I have and just the time it'll take, I estimate basically, I hope what I can do is basically continue the series at the start of 2025 with basically the first Nitro of September, and continue the build from Fall Brawl. I'll probably do some sort of setup video for people coming in, because obviously, you want it. So yeah, what I'll probably basically do is probably do a setup video that'll also include the first, and then continue on to the first, Nitro and whatever. But anyway, now we're off to SummerSlam. Of course, we start our opening video, focusing, of course, on the big matches of the show, which includes Jericho versus Chris Benoit in a 2 out of 3 falls match for the WWF Championship. Brock Lesnar versus William Regal in Wigan Rules match. Shawn Michaels versus CM Punk after Punk and Lion after DX 2.0 broke apart. Edge versus Bautista. And much, much more. And that opening video gets us a 74 as we start up today. Next up, our first match of the night, which is a big opener as Edge takes on Bautista. These two have been on the top of Raw since basically the brand split. Edge won the world title in the basically fall of 2005, dropped it back to Shawn Michaels, then basically disappeared for a few months, aka his contract ran out, but I maneuvered it, so he resigned. He returned at WrestleMania to defeat Benoit and Regal in a triple threat match, and since then has been, continuing on trying to, get his next shot. He returned as a babyface after, being a heel for a while, but now, he has been feuding with Bautista, who of course came as Leviathan, was a member of the Gals of Bruges forever. She got moved over to Jim Cornette, but after failing against Brock Lesnar, Cornette turned on him, but he's turned face, and Nez has been getting a solid face push since then, and now these two men fight, and they're basically booked together against each other by Mr. McMahon, and the tension has been rising, and what happens here, as back and forth match, very good match, very, one could call it an exceptional match. But in the end, Bautista is just a little bit better as Edge goes for the spear. Bautista gets out of the way. He's able to hit his, big moves and then hit the big old sit-down powerbomb. 1, 2, 3 as Bautista picks up the win with the sit-out powerbomb. This gets a 79, 90 Edge, 81 Bautista. Basically face-face combination, so it is what it is. And then post-match, Edge walks away after as Bautista celebrates. As the actors put over Batista's big win over a former WWF champion. Next up is a big 6-women's triple threat match, as we have 6-women tag match, as we have the Divas of Jillian Hall, Shantelle Fierce, and Beth Phoenix taking on the Anti-Divas of Amber James, Angel Oscura, and Molly Holly. Back and forth match, basically this was set up because basically, Molly Holly wants to get rid of all the divas. She's gotten back up in the former Angel Oscura and Amber James. Amber James, not really because she's anti-diva, but because she's a heel bastard. Angel Oscura recently debuted earlier this year, quickly won the Women's Championship, lost the belt, but now is chasing after these divas. Divas are, Saul, Shantelle Fierce, and Beth Phoenix. Quick match. Eventually, basically, the build-up is to the hot tag where Beth Phoenix comes in and wrecks everyone, hits the Glam Slam on Amber James, gets the pinfall here in a little under 6 minutes. As she gets the win here in a 69. Nice. Beth gets a 66. Fierce gets a 57. Hall gets a 60. Molly gets a friggin' 93. Angel Oscura gets a 62. Amber James gets a 69. So, fun stuff here. And post-match, they face to celebrate to a 45. Then we get a Taker Steiner hype video focusing, of course, on Scott Steiner doing a short promos to the cheers of the crowd, dressing up as the Undertaker, then the gong showing up, Taker, grabbing away the neck, and then the gong hitting again, him disappearing. Back at 69, Taker's return gets a 71. So yeah, this is Scott Steiner, who's not quite, the what's the word I'm looking for here? Who's not quite like 2002 Scott Steiner in reality, but he's not like quite as broken down. He still can wrestle pretty decently, and he's a hot baby face. And then we got Taker taking on, who's turned heel a while back and is doing his big evil character in 2006. So it's not quite, he's the dead man, but he's also like, biker Taker, that little combination we had for a little while. And, I don't say this is a squash, but it's sort of like, I don't know. The best way to describe it is this is a case where there's not enough spots for a true Taker main event match, so Steiner gets the job here, and he does his work here. He goes after. There's a decent little brawl. Taker, Steiner does his best. He hits a few big suplexes. Goes for the Steiner recliner, but Taker powers out eventually. Taker, hits the snake eyes on an exposed turnbuckle, takes over, chokeslam, locks on the Hell's Gate, and with nowhere to go, Steiner has to tap out, and the Undertaker gets the win here in a little over 11 minutes. Taker, 81 overall, pretty good match. Steiner gets a 73, Taker gets an 89 because he's still great. And yeah, solid match here as, Steiner gets a, Steiner doesn't look bad here, but he's sort of getting pushed down the card a bit. And it is what it is. And next up, we have sort of like one of the more interesting matches on the card, as the sudden death 4 quarters match between The Big Show, Diamond Dallas Page, JBL, and Vampiro. These 4 men have been feuding off and on, basically back and forth, and they're sort of like all stuck in the like upper mid card of Raw, and you basically continue fighting. And your friend and mine, Mr. McMahon, got basically upset with this and called this match where they kept on like breaking up matches. Of course, DDP is a heel. He is a former member of Top Shelf and is really slowing down. Vampiro, of course, came over earlier this year. Of course, had a long feud with Taker, as you'd expect. Sort of like settled into the upper mid card. Big Show's a former world champion. Then I guess like slightly better pushed in this version of reality. But yeah, it's former world champion twice, and then JBL's, who's a babyface here. Like he had his JBL run, but then he also had a long baby rush run as JBL, former Intercontinental champion. Never really had like his long world title run because we don't have 2 world titles here. But this is just like a chaotic match. Like this is just like everybody hitting their spots, using some violent stuff, because this is an ODQ match as a fatal 4-way. So we get a table spot, we get some chair spots, we get some table spots. But eventually, like what happens here is Big Show actually choke slams Vampiro through a table, but then DDP hits a diamond cutter on him. Big Show rolls away, but that leaves him, DDP, open to a big powerbomb from JBL, then a clothesline from Hell as he picks up the win, and Diamond Dallas Page is out of the WWF. And I totally forgot to change where this show was booked. So it's saying we're in the tri-state area in front of 132,000 people when we should be in the Boston Garden. That's on me. But hey, what can you do? Anyway, 82, actually a really good match, as JBL defeats DDP, Scott Steiner, Big Show, and Vampiro. Let's see here. JBL got to 79, Big Show gets an 87, Vampiro gets a 75, DDP gets a 59, which you can sort of see why I had him be the one who loses the match. But yeah, fun stuff, and basically this should hopefully, after the AI does the draft lottery, hopefully like do some fun stuff getting these guys in better positions. And DDP walks away as the crowd sings "Na Na Na, hey, hey, goodbye," as you expect they would for a heel at this time period. 69, not bad for that. Like I might, under if the AI will bring baby DDP back as a manager if I do some edits when we go to 289. We'll just have to see about that. Next up is our women's title match, as Jamie Keys defends against Veronica Vaine. Nothing fancy here. Like Jamie Keys won the title, I think, a couple months back. I'd have to double check here. But basically Veronica Vaine is sort of like the next deal up. She won a triple threat match on SmackDown, and while the rest of the Raw Diva roster is dealing with their own mess, that's sort of it. Jamie Keys, not that great, a little better than real life, I think. And Veronica Vaine is, of course, the former Jordan Cole in RWCW. You might know her better in real life as Chrissy Vaine, but she's a heel here. Pretty typical stuff. It's a very 2006 era Divas match, as you expect from these two. Nothing fancy. Vaine cheats to win, and she is your new women's champion in a little over under 7 minutes. You know, just, it is what it is. It gets a 61 overall, as I'm about to show you. Keys gets a 48, Vaine gets a 63. Yeah, I just decided, like, this is the type of booking they would do, where just, like, sort of just a random, you know, changeover, just for the sake of changing it over. And then, post-match, Vaine celebrates to the boos of the crowd, as this gets a 52. Then we have our next match. Well, we have our entrance here, as your Billy Gunn comes out of the ring, and then John Cena comes down and does a, you know, rap entrance, as you'd expect, cutting a rap promo on Billy Gunn. I will not be doing that, because I'm not John Cena. But, you know, you expect, he does some very heel John Cena, says things about Billy Gunn, gets a 66, and we move forward to the match itself. Again, pretty solid here, like, back and forth match, nothing fancy here. You know, these guys are not great workers, but they're not bad workers either. This is, you know, this is more 2004 era Cena in reality, as opposed to 2006 reality, because the game has not pushed him well. But basically, you know, Cena eventually uses his chain, gets the win, and picks up the big win over a former multi-time Intercontinental champion. Like, this is a much bigger win than it would be in reality, because Gunn's been sort of pushed as like a upper mid-card face or heel for consistently since basically, you know, the whole era of the CW version of the game, since there's been no WWE invasion to really, like, you know, build up the roster. So they've had to push Billy. But, you know, 59 for Cena, 67 for Gunn. He was not happy about losing, but, you know, who cares? And then Cena came out, so, you know, went to the, you know, ringside area celebrating with the Patriots, as this gets a 63. And then Christian comes out of the ring with the IC title, which probably not a good sign for him, as basically 3-6 Mafia comes out and plays out Mark Henry, you know, the whole, you know, his whole great heel song, his great theme song of this era. Just, like, look up that SmackDown where they played him out, and that's basically what happens here. Let's get to 70, and we move on to the match itself. And this was basically made in the last week, as Christian supposedly attacked Adam Ortiz, who had won the, you know, the Christian Open Invitational to get the title shot. Then he got attacked. Mr. Man said he, you know, appreciated his ruthless aggression, but also just like he had wanted to take a title match off one of his pay-per-views. So he brought his, you know, Adam Ortiz's replacement, Mark Henry, who basically, you know, turned face. And then we have the match here, and it's a squash. Like, Christian dies. Like, he gets a little bit of offense in, but basically this is a way to, like, hopefully really put Mark Henry over strong finally, as he just, like, destroys, like, he just destroys Christian here. Just complete squash, like, under 5 minutes, hits the, you know, big slam, you know, the, what is it, the Hall Slam? Why am I blanking on his name? Anyway, you know, it is just that grabs him, boom, slam, he dies, 1, 2, 3, and your winner and new Intercontinental Champion is Mark Henry. 63 because it only goes 5 minutes, 86 for Christian, 66 for Henry. Yeah, it was hurt by the short length. Mark Henry celebrates with the IC Championship, which gets a 70, as, you know, the crowd probably, you know, mostly cheers, but there's still some boos because it's Mark Henry. But yeah, fun stuff here. Then we get our Gladiator Justice hype video, focusing on, you know, Justice's feud with Foley and Foley embracing him. Then Gladiator going after him, and, you know, Justice, you know, coming to his save. And then, you know, Justice, the whole ECW arena thing. And now we have the match. ECW rules, Justice versus the Gladiator. Guess what? This is a big old wild brawl. Like, this is, you know, we got tables, we get chairs. Awesome does a big dive on the Justice. Justin gets some big choke slams. Both men sort of, like, stall out near the end because they're, you know, not that great at stamina. But then, you know, they get up for a big finish. Just, you know, Awesome actually hits, Gladiator actually hits the big Gladiator bomb onto Justice, but Justice kicks out. Justice fights back, eventually hits whatever we're calling the Black Hole Slam in this universe through a table. 1, 2, 3. Justice gets the huge win over the Gladiator here at SummerSlam. This gets an 81. And yeah, solid match. Gladiator gets an 80. Justice gets a 64. As we're continuing to try to help build new stars for the WWE, because the game is not doing it themselves, unfortunately. But yeah, fun stuff here. You know, nothing fancy, just a straight ahead, like, you know, wild brawl. And Gladiator gets a big win here. Takes a big loss here to Justice, and then afterwards, Mick Foley makes Gladiator takes Mr. Socko, which gets a 70, and some cheers from the crowd. Then we get our OutKast Street to the Suburbs hype video focusing on the big tag team double dog collar title match coming up soon between, of course, the team of Carnage Carnival, aka Homicide, and Lino Michael Murray, aka Spanky, aka Street to the Suburbs, versus the OutKast of Rhino and Tommy Dreamer, who have been multiple-time tag team champions, turned heel, I think, earlier this year, and now we have, they've been feuding back and forth, and now it's built up to this, a double dog collar match at SummerSlam. And again, this is another wild back and forth match, basically, we have Spanky and Rhino, Lino McMurray and Rhino together. Well, Tommy Dreamer and Homicide are Carnage Carnival are together. So basically, we get a whole bunch of power spots and Lino McMurray playing the face and pearl throughout the match. Eventually even getting double teamed after Tommy Dreamer gets some big spots on Carnage Carnival. Carnage Carnival recovers, makes a comeback, back and forth match, but it looks like it's going to be a big loss as Rhino actually hits the spear on Carnage Carnival as Dreamer is holding him, but Lino Montgomery finally recovers, hits a big sort of dive onto both men to stop the count. Things break down, and eventually Lino Montgomery hits Rhino with a slice bread number 2, and they get the pinfall here, probably with the help of the dog collar. 1, 2, 3, and your winners and new World Tag Team Champions are the Streets to the Suburbs. They win about 13 minutes. Match itself gets an 80. Rhino gets a 72, Dreamer gets a 62, Michael Moore gets an 81, Carnage Carnival gets a 74. Nothing fancy here, just a big win, and Streets of Suburbs win the championships. 73 as they celebrate, so big moment here as we move forward here at SummerSlam. And we got our setup for the Lesnar Regal video, going over to start for the Wigan pit match, which is basically just a I quit match with no rope breaks. That's all it is, nothing fancy here. I wish there was more, but basically what I came up with, maybe I'd throw some more intriguing rules if this was a WCW gimmick, but it's not, so you get what you get here. Just being honest here, folks. Again, back and forth match, they both men get their spots in, Regal gets to show off his, more old school bare knuckle, carnival style takedowns and hold and everything, trying to take down Lesnar. Lesnar gets to throw Regal down, throw off his, quasi UFC stuff, big suplexes, takedowns, trying to lock in holds. Regal fights him off. Actually gets an interesting little, old school shooting hold in. Lesnar breaks out of it. Lesnar eventually, gets the advantage. Regal goes for, Regal actually locks him in the Regal stretch, but Lesnar breaks out of it. Lesnar, boom, F5, rolls into a muffler stretch. And if nowhere to go, Regal has to quit. And about 14 minutes, your winner is Brock Lesnar. 79. Unfortunately, we got dinged with a bad announcing. 95, 96, so it should have been probably a 90. And also we had some low heat, so, probably should been a 93, 94 with the low heat and the announcing ding. It's not the end of the world. But post-match, Regal nods at Lesnar as that gets a 72, and we move forward here on SummerSlam. We got our Shawn Michaels CM Punk video, of course, focusing on the whole history, going all the way back to Backlash 05, where Punk and Lyons attacked, helped Michaels defeat Brock Lesnar, selling his heel turn. The reign of sort of DX throughout that spring and summer, ending with them burying Triple H, setting him out of the promotion at SummerSlam, and then focusing on Jericho, beating Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania. The rematch where Michaels lost the I Quit match, and then Punk and Lyon turning heel on him. Punk's, vindictive promos afterwards, Michaels' return, and the showdown here. And then, Punk comes to the ring to boost the crowd, and then for the first time, I'm going to guess since his heel turn, the sexy boy's back as, ooh, Shawn, we probably used DX, and Michael's been using DX ever since he returned. So yeah. And then this gets a 69. Now it's time for our semi-main event of the evening. Hey folks, it turns out 2006 Shawn Michaels, 2006 CM Punk, really good. Just imagine a match at this time. That's what this match was. Especially with babyface fighter Shawn Michaels, heel bastard CM Punk, back and forth match. Punk blocks in the icon device, goes for the go to sleep, hits an elbow drop of his own to the boos of the crowd, and I can totally see him being a heel bastard and tuning up the band and playing to the crowd, and then just hitting with a big knee or something. We can just Michaels, I'm sure, locks in a sharpshooter, as a sort of nod. I'm sure we get some Bret Hart spots from Michaels from Punk, because Punk is that Bret Hart guy. Punk, eventually fights back, but Michaels Michaels then probably bleeds because that's what Shawn Michaels does in 2006. Punk goes for the go to sleep. Michaels slips out of it. Boom, super kick, sweet chin music, out of nowhere. 1, 2, 3. Shawn Michaels gets the big win over CM Punk here at SummerSlam. This gets an 89. Michaels gets a 99. Punk gets an 80. I think the only thing that really hurt it was crowd length, which he knows not the end of the world here. But yeah, fun stuff here. And post-match, Shawn Michaels celebrates to a 72. And then we have our main event here tonight, as we get our hype video focusing on Benoit and Jericho. Then we got Benoit's entrance to a 71, Jericho's entrance to a 73, and then it's main event time here. So, unfortunately, we got the burnt out, which I thought I turned off, but I think what happened was I turned it off for my own game, but I forgot to turn it off when I entered the game as Mr. McMahon. So that's unfortunate. This probably should have been an 89-90, but still great match. It actually is a fantastic match, as Benoit gets a 94, Jericho gets a 96. Back and forth match as you expect. I actually expect both men getting submissions early. I expect Benoit basically getting a quick crossface in 5 minutes, and you're just tapping out, knowing it's better than to try to fight out of it. And then Jericho hitting hits in walls of Jericho's a few minutes later, and then for 15 minutes they just go after each other, doing Chris Jericho and Chris Benoit stuff, back and forth. Great match. And in the end, Jericho actually hits Benoit actually hits the German suplexes of doom, but he goes for the big flying headbutt. Jericho rolls out of the way, but instead of going for the walls of Jericho hits the biggest side moonsault, and then hits the big code breaker, which is whatever we're calling in this universe since there's no code thing, and gets the big pinfall victory over Benoit in a little over 23 minutes in the 2 out of 3 falls match, and retains the World Championship once again, continuing his pretty long title reign, even if the AI weirdly didn't have him defend the title twice. So 79, unfortunately, Jericho gets a 96, Benoit gets a 94. So I booked this correctly, I just forgot to turn off Burnout. And then we have the big moment here, as Jericho is in the ring celebrating. Benoit slowly gets up. It looks like we're about to have a handshake, but out of nowhere, Randy Orton comes in the ring, as the announcers go over, nobody's seen Randy Orton in months. He goes after, Jericho, stomping the hell out of him. Benoit actually goes for a save, out of respect more than anything else. Orton tosses him over the top, and as the beatdown continues, out comes Edge for the save. Orton backs away, but as Jericho gets up, spear by Edge. And then Randy Orton comes in, hits an RKO on Benoit on the outside. He rolls in. RKO on Jericho. Edge Orton stand together. And yeah, this is the birth of rated RKO. So we get a heel turn. Yeah, I don't care. And yeah, Jericho's... So, backstage stuff here. Basically, in-game, Orton contract ran out. He didn't want to resign because basically way back when originally I screwed up, when he got upset and he didn't want to resign, instead of just letting him not resign and messing him up, I extended his contract. That was on mine. So he basically upset the last year, so he really didn't leave. So he left, and basically, as I was saying, I didn't resign him because booking wise I wanted this to be true. And basically, I tried to get him back before Mania, but he wasn't ready to resign, I think I remember right. So I just let it go to SummerSlam, hoping nobody else in the game signed him up. He didn't sign him up, and now he's here, and now coming in as basically a pretty top heel. This gets an 84. Fun stuff. And post-match, we get an 85. Okay, so Chris Benoit, great work. Honestly, who else did great? Who else did a lot right? William Regal, great work. And Randy Orton, actually Edge, great performance. Ooh, also the G1 Climax. So I'm just going to look at the results real quick, no matter what. Just see what those results are in a moment here. I'll also go over some post-match popularity changes, as is tradition with this, just to see what happens. I'll be back with that in just a moment as this loads up. Okay, so oh my god. Okay, this is kind of very interesting. So, some fun stuff here. Who are you? Sure, you can go to HWA. Have fun. Here. Well, here, you get a 2-year contract then. There. Sorry. That is okay. So very interesting thing. So basically, Nakanishi re-signed in game with New Japan like last week, and now he shows up and he wins the June Climax title and basically his return. That's very interesting. Like if the game could book well, they would actually follow up with that and have him win the championship. But I wonder if they'd actually do that. Also, weirdly, like Sasaki is no, okay, he's not the IWGP champ. Wait, who is? Is it Shona? No, it's not Chono. I'm blanking on who the... Oh, right, it's... No, wait, I totally thought it was Sasaki. Hold on, now I'm doubting myself. New Japan? Sorry, you can skip a couple minutes, so now I'm just, like, weirdly freaked out by this. Ah, it's Nagata! Okay. He has not defended... Okay. So what did he do at G1 Climax? Did he just lose? He was not on the show. Interesting. Okay. Sure, that makes sense. Hopefully the game will book well and do a Nagata Chono match or Nagata Nakanishi match. Like, I don't want to take over 1-4 as well, but I might. Anyway, sorry, I just totally got lost there. Okay, we still finished first. DirecTV was not unhappy. Yeah, I don't care. Mike Niz is now muscular. Joe Briscoe thinks Matt Classic can be a star. DirecTV's unhappy. I don't care. USA, great. Okay. First, okay, so Billy Gunn, you're angry. Honestly, you would be angry, and I don't care. Christian would totally be okay with this, like, booking, so I'm going to pay him off for realism reasons. There we go. Anybody else unhappy? Rikishi, yeah, I don't care if you're unhappy. Tommy Dreamer, I don't care if you're unhappy. Yeah, Gladiator. Unfortunately, I think Mike Awesome in real life would be unhappy about putting him over, considering how he acted in real life. Edge, oh, okay. Edge, you're just now basically being... Oh, because of your, like, here. Here is $250,000, because you're now being... Okay, here's $500,000, because you're now basically going to be probably one of the 2 top heels. Okay, you can be annoyed. I do not care anymore. Anybody else? I do not really care about. Okay, great. Yeah, the rest of you guys can be all unhappy. Okay, so let's look at the roster. Let's just start with main eventers. Okay, so Bautista. Okay, Bautista is now a top guy. Like, this happened. Like, yeah, he is now a top guy, which is going to be very interesting to see how the IA books him. Because, like, he's old, but he's also great. Let's see, Brock Lesnar. I mean, Lesnar, like, this is a world where Brock Lesnar is, like, the #1 guy in pro wrestling, basically. Like, he's not the world champion all the time, but he did have that insanely, like, yeah, he had that long reign. He just hasn't won the belts back since then, which is interesting. But yeah, okay, yeah, Benoit, again, good stuff. He's over as he's always been over. Jericho still, like, yeah, Jericho's still that guy. Edge, okay, Edge, again. Edge, you should not be unhappy. Okay, you did job Bautista. Okay, shut up. Michaels is still stupidly over. So yeah, he has that going for him. Like, yeah, I mean, he might just win another title. Taker is actually around. Like, he's not, like, super over, but he's still, like, solidly over. Regal is, like, really over. And yeah, if you notice why I did the handshake thing, I forgot the game had turned on face, so I did this as a face heel feud, and I didn't realize it till, like, basically, like, the week before. So, stars. Okay, Christian. How badly did you get hit by that job, Mark Henry? Okay, I mean, I can see why you're a little upset, but still. JBL, 83. I mean, yeah, he's fine. Vampiro. Yeah. And if you notice, like, this is the one big difference between WCW and WWF in this world, is they still have, like, the 95-plus guys, but we have so many more, like, 80-plus guys. Okay, so, Carnage Carnival, let's see here. What happened to you? after winning the tag titles? I'm going to guess like a couple points. Okay, basically the same. Punk, okay. Punk is stupidly over in the Great Lakes, but like, yeah, he's that guy now. Like, I could actually, like, I would be interesting if the game gave him the IC or the heel term. Let's see here. Randy Orton comes in as, like, oddly not over because he's been off TV. But yeah, like, he's, like, still stupidly over, so if the game books him right, he should immediately be in main events along with Orton. Lion. Oops. Gladiator. Let's see here. How unhappy are you? I mean, you should be getting job now because you're old. And you're not, honestly, I mean, you're still great, but you're still great in an ECW way, not anything else way. Like, honestly, you should be on your way off to Impact sooner than later, buddy. Let's see here. Beth Phoenix. Phoenix got the big win here. Okay, so she got a bit of a push there. Billy Gunn, I'm sorry, buddy. But, like, yeah, this has been, like, a basically year-long, like, yeah, D-push time. Let's see here. Justice is still being worked up, but very well momentum, so hopefully the game books him well. Yeah, 76, 63, 64, so he's getting there. Let's see here. Leonardo, Michael Murray. 79, okay, 75, 76, not bad. Is Veronica Vaine. How did you get any pop game from becoming the women's champion? You did not, which is not surprising to me. Oh, whoops, forgot the big one. Mark Henry. Okay, big push. Okay, so yeah. Hopefully that should give him enough momentum to actually keep the title for more than a month. Unimportant. Let's see, is there anybody here I really care about deeply? Not really. Yeah, some of these people I'll be putting on vacation to hope the game sends them away. But anyway, here we are. The end of the TEW 2020 era, at least as far as me booking. I'll be, of course, be going over like the wrestling world and WCW more specifically in the wrap-up video. But if you enjoyed this, go and give it a like, comment below on what you're liking and not liking, and subscribe to the channel at least for the next few weeks or a few, let's say, month or so. It's going to be a little bit intermittent. I'm hoping to get the Pittsburgh Steel Wrestling series back on track. Unfortunately, I'm thinking either Pittsburgh Steel isn't quite working for me, as you can see by the people I'm hiring, or Cornellverse isn't quite working for me. I don't know. I might have to like look to see what mods have been found and like pick something random and try to book there, because I've come to the conclusion that I enjoy the Cornellverse lore, but I might not like actually booking in it. But yeah, outside of that, we'll just see what else pops up. And of course, the long road to this appearing on TEW9. But that's for now, so talk later, and adios. Have a good one.